one of the fundamental things really here, and I've done the research around it, one of the fundamentals is this, that our young people don't have meaningful sex and relationship education. Obviously you've had good education, and so those core values are there. In the absence of those core values, then you're right, there's other principles that dictate it in a sexualized society.
But can you teach that within a classroom environment?
No, it's not. It's you know, the way we do it is through a workshop program. And I've got to say that young people want to talk about sex, and there's a community taboo, which is that they don't talk about it, so they lead a double life. And this is the key thing. It's double life which is the challenge here. And in many ways, this is a really aspect of Pakistani's inability to adapt to our environment, that we feel culturally conflicted.
There is a double life going on. We see it in our schools quite a lot. I work in a boys' school, predominantly Pakistani, 80%, and the girls' school is pretty much across the road. The girls come on the same buses with the boys, and to some extent, some of the parents, the boys go to my school, the girls go to the one across the road, and they're free to mix outside the gates and everything, but as soon as the parents hear that, you know, they've been talking, they've been mixing freely outside the gates, then they want to put a stop to it.
As a community activist, I think it's very important that communities take ownership of issues that are confronting communities, whether they be negative issues or a positive image by the community itself. And so those issues need to be addressed holistically and in a systematic way. First of all, many of our communities haven't grasped the issue of parents being able to relate to their children and be able to converse with their children. And so schemes that within local communities that provide training to parents around how to manage their child growing up. Because a lot of times parents are actually raising their children as to how they were raised within a different climate, a different country, which is Pakistan.
I think the first step is we have to have an open debate, an open discussion, a mature discussion on the issues and not live in denial. And then the second thing is that we've got to put the right safeguarding in place in our communities so that where people are vulnerable, where they are being abused and victimized, they get the help they deserve. So community leaders, people in positions of responsibility, and in particular families and parents who know abuse is going on intra-family, feel empowered that they can actually access support. And I think there's a third part, which is really good quality youth empowerment and engagement. We have a massive disconnect in our community between the third, fourth and fifth generations and the first and second generation. Massive disconnect. And that's why, again, there's a polarization between these. And you could say these are lost generations, so we need to kind of bring them on board.
I absolutely agree with what Alyas was just saying, but I think we need to look further back, and respect across the board has to be instilled from a very, very early age. There's still a problem within in certain elements of the South Asian community where respect to boys and respect to girls is totally disproportionate, and that's where it needs to start. And add-ons such as what Alyas was saying can complement that, but it has to be from day one. And I add to this as well, being from a dual heritage background, I have seen my mother suffer from the prejudice from the South Asians saying Gorin, Goriya, and you know, she's not worthy in that respect. And as a son of that good lady, Gorina Putra has that negative connotation as well. So the respect for women, full stop, regardless of their background and culture, has to be instilled from an early age.
We're evolving. Our first generation, in terms of my father, that came over from Pakistan, didn't know how to emerge into British society, and they just did what they thought was best. And bringing their children up, in terms of they didn't have the English language to start with, for example, or the British culture, for them to say this is how it's done here. So they were learning themselves. Second and third generation parents, such as myself, are going to engage more with our children because we know it's the thing to do and it's more beneficial to do that. But again, you can still get the good and bad within that.
As a parent and being from the Pakistani community, I'm very concerned about the media hysteria because it's projecting the Pakistani males as abusers, as sex groomers and fraudsters. So what do our young people have as role models?
But surely those issues have come from somewhere. There is no kind of smoke without a fire.
Yeah, but it's about proportionality, as Brother Alyas has mentioned, that look at the figures, look at the evidence base. It seems as if the evidence base is being blown out of all proportion, and the media is doing that, so there's something that lies beneath that's very dangerous, you know, for our communities.